Hello and welcome to Quays News, our final episode of 2023. I'm Harry Cohen.
And I'm Adam Clark. Here's what's coming up on the programme today. How Salford Council is helping residents in Eccles to tackle social isolation.
It's fantastic for people that are maybe a bit more socially isolated, maybe are struggling a little bit with the cost of living and struggling to kind of get a hot meal and just wanting to meet new people really.
A Manchester referee has opened up about the kinds of mistreatment he has received after a summer survey revealed that 98% of match officials have been victims of abuse.
It's kind of embarrassing when he's talking to you like that in front of parents, in front of players. Like, if the players see that, the players aren't going to listen to you themselves. So.
And later we hear from Manchester team Winton Wanderers, a club in need of a home.
The trouble is with not having the home, we struggle to apply for any of the big grants.
But first tonight, breaking news. Police and ambulances were sent into Manchester city centre earlier today with concerns for welfare.
Our reporter George Ike is at the scene.
Yes, Adam and Harry, down here in the centre of Manchester, as you can see just over my shoulder, a significant police presence, probably about 7 or 8 police officers now, but a passerby has just told me earlier on today there were police coming from every direction and ambulances parked down this street in the busy city centre. Now, Greater Manchester Police have told us that around 1:45 p.m. today, police officers were called to reports of a concern for welfare for a person in the canal near Duty Street in Manchester. Unfortunately, they're not able to give us an update on the condition of the person who was in the canal, but more updates should follow with time.
Thank you, George. Now, mistreatment towards referees is becoming an increasing problem in grassroots football after a Radio 5 Live survey revealed 98% of match officials have received some form of abuse.
Our reporter Patrick Killeen revealed how serious this is getting and what organisations are doing to help prevent this.
There are fewer jobs in which workers receive more abuse than football refereeing. The abuse of officials from grassroots to professional has become more of a talking point in recent years. This is partly due to the UK's biggest refereeing support charity, Ref Support UK.
We'll phone them, always phone them back if they do give us their number the next morning, because when something happens, it's hard to sleep, it plays on the mind, like I said earlier. And we'll always keep in touch with them until they say, look, I'm all right now. We can offer them a mentor, if we've got mentors in the area, because we're a growing organisation. And it's making them aware that it's not them. The first thing that happens, and we say to them, is, this isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself. Don't think because he's punched me or beat me up or called me all the names of the sun because you made a mistake.
Martin has worked in football for over 30 years and his goal is to keep abuse to a minimum. However, one Manchester referee still regularly falls victim to this, even telling me that one incident involved a former Premier League footballer.
He was non-stop all game. He was arguing with the other coach about the refereeing decisions, and it was started to get a bit heated, and they started arguing, so I had to pause the game. This is under-13s football. Him being arrogant and like talking down to you just makes you think, like, why am I doing this like on a Sunday morning? And it's kind of embarrassing when he's talking to you like that in front of parents, in front of players. Like, if the players see that, the players aren't going to listen to you themselves. So,
Ref Support UK was set up by Martin 5 years ago, and he has said that since it was established, he has had many referees open up to him about attacks.
What's massive in football that people don't grasp is that 95% of football is played within 20 miles of where the referee lives. They're going to bump into the people you send off the majority of the time. And you'll see these people who's threatened, abused, or even attacked you in supermarkets, in the pubs, on school runs, in restaurants. We've had all those experiences, we've been made aware of those experiences happening where they've sent someone off, he's in the supermarket, and they spit at him in front of his kids. That's not unusual, and cars getting damaged.
Despite Martin and his charity's best efforts, abuse still remains a focal point within the game. This is seen a decline in the amount of people wanting to referee as a job, with people asking themselves the question, why should I do a job when I'm highly likely to be abused?
Pressure on the NHS to provide mental health services is increasing, with waiting lists as long as 18 months. But one lecturer from the University of Salford believes he's found an alternative.
Arts for the Blues uses creative arts to help people cope with issues such as depression and anxiety. John O'Hara has more.
With 1.2 million people said to be on the NHS's waiting list for traditional therapy, could artistic therapy be the way forward? One person who thinks so is Professor Scott Thurston, one of the founders of Arts for the Blues, an arts-based form of group expression which has been helping people in the Northwest to deal with issues such as depression.
My name's Scott, and this is where I am today. Those are still very effective and useful forms of therapy, but the evidence is that roughly 50% of people actually drop out of talking therapies. They don't complete a course of therapy. And creative therapies therefore offer an alternative which can be very empowering for people. They can find ways of expressing their problems through artistic methods.
And you can add any movement.
The activities undertaken during sessions range from visual arts to creative writing to music making and expressive movement. The sessions are also backed by extensive research into creative therapy that Scott and the other founders of the initiative have undertaken to ensure the programme is worthwhile.
Translating this gesture into some marks on the paper.
I guess what's unique about Arts for the Blues as a model is that it's also about using all of the arts together. One of the things about the whole origins of me getting into Arts for the Blues as well, which I haven't mentioned yet, was that I think there was a point about 6 or 7 years ago when I was teaching creative writing here at the university, final year group, and recognising that probably a good 70% of my students had some form of declared mental health issue. I was struck by how there was clearly something that was bringing them to a creative writing workshop in order to do their thing.
John O'Hara, Quays News.
Let's stick with some health news. Social isolation can face anyone, with statistics from the NHS showing that more than 1 million people in the UK over the age of 75 can go over a month without speaking to a friend, neighbour or family member.
Salford Council's health improvement team are reaching out to the older generation, providing them with activities to get them out into the community. Johnny Kenwright went to Eccles to see the work Salford Council is doing to help prevent loneliness this winter.
Tomatoes chopped, buns sliced and burgers in the oven. Every week the doors of this village hall in Eccles open for a morning of socialising, board games and a hot meal, and it's all in a bid to help prevent social isolation in the community. Peter's diary is now fully booked after getting involved in this community scheme.
Curling on a Monday morning, art and craft Monday afternoon, and the only day I'm off is Thursday. Friday I go tennis or social.
And does that help you getting out of the house?
You know what, I meet a lot of different people, yeah. I mean, a lot of it's through word of mouth. You don't even, you don't cheers, darling, but you don't know the learning the things. But it gets out of the house and done it, and it's just a break. You're tired now, so it's just something to do.
Aside from the magic tricks, Roy has been attending these sessions for 3 months now, and the social element has allowed him to meet new friends within his community.
I've been coming here since October, and I've really got to like the place. And everything we do, it keeps you really occupied.
Penny Meek helps run the council scheme here in Eccles and has seen all the benefits that the Healthy Hub provides.
Fantastic for people that are maybe a bit more socially isolated, maybe are struggling a little bit with the cost of living and struggling to kind of get a hot meal, and just wanting to meet new people really. So as we say, it is open to everyone, so even if you're not struggling, people can come along anyway, because it's just a really nice friendly environment.
Since the cost of living sort of has gone up, we notice more people using the service, more people coming to the sessions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely something that people talk to us about all the time. We often kind of do food bank referrals here, so people can come to us if they do need a food bank referral. People are maybe struggling with their energy costs as well, which people mentioned. So obviously we're part of Salford Council, so we can refer them to our different kind of council services, like Salford Assist and things like that, which can help people with their bills and kind of managing like the cost of living and everything like that. So yeah, definitely the increase of demand is absolutely
Penny and the team hope that these sessions will help bridge the gap between those in the community who may be a bit more isolated this winter and in the run-up to Christmas. Johnny Kenwright, Quays News, Salford.
Start again, best start me.
Sacred Trinity Church in Salford is hosting a pop-up art exhibition. A portion of money made from the paintings will go to Open Table, a network of churches that are a safe space for members of the LGBTQ+ community.
Sophie Lyon has the story.
A pop-up art gallery showcasing Elizabeth Gray King's oil paintings has arrived at the Sacred Trinity Church in Salford. Her paintings contain a strong message.
God, to a number of people, is very inclusive and loves everybody no matter what they look like, dress like, claim to be, who they are, where they're from. There are no barriers whatever to being in a relationship with God.
The artwork is sponsored by Open Table, a network of churches which welcome the LGBTQ+ community.
It's not always obvious in churches whether that welcome is offered to people from that community. So we want to be big and bold in saying we believe that offer is made to all. Some people have been coming in to have a look at the artwork. Other people are just coming in because they see the door open. And people have been really very engaged with it.
Each of the paintings have their own story to tell.
The painting is called I Don't Know Yet. And there's 3 individuals in the painting, and one is gender non-conforming. And the other 2 people are, well, kind of identifying male, female, but unless we talk to them, we really don't know. And the other 2 people are some of the interior selves of the person who's sitting on the outside. And one of those people is reaching out to the single person. And the single person just says, I don't know yet. Like, give me time. So that's for anybody who feels as though they're being pushed to make a decision about who they are, to give them courage to say, you know what, I don't know yet.
Sophie Lyon, Quays News, Salford.
Another arty story for you. Students from the University of Salford are hosting a photography exhibition in Media City called Visions Unveiled. Our reporter Ellie Johnston went along to find out more about the artists.
So this exhibition is a collection of a bunch of students from University of Salford's work.
University of Salford photography students have gathered here at Dock 10 to produce Visions Unveiled, a photography exhibition giving students the chance to show off their art to the real world.
I wanted to do boudoir photography. I wanted to do a concept behind it, and I did this through the Greek goddesses, because we always think of the Greek goddesses as like the most feminine, beautiful models. But when I started researching into them, I realised that that wasn't necessarily the case. We think that they're very powerful, but in truth, they were suppressed by the gods for thousands of years. And I think that is very similar to our society in general, as we think that these goddesses are like so much above everything and everyone and above society as it is, but then I think they are just like us in that we live in a patriarchal society and women are suppressed by men. Throughout the pictures, I have my model as a Greek goddess, like a statue, and you'll see her get more cracked throughout the photo series. That's because the goddesses had all these tragedies that happened to them. So Hera was a goddess of marriage, and she was raped and then stuck in an unfaithful marriage. They were the goddesses of these powerful things, but then they also couldn't have what they were the goddesses of. I think this exhibition is about empowering women. For me, it's also about not silencing women.
After 3 months of planning and preparation, the show is held for 2 days, from the 7th to the 8th of December, 9 till 5 p.m, by second-year Salford students.
My images are sort of my own journey through self-identity and sort of rediscovering my gender and like figuring out how femininity affects me as a person and how I want to present myself going forward. I think it's like a continuous journey of self-discovery, and it's just slowly rediscovering myself with each passing day. The biggest part was obviously shooting and then layering in my edits. As you can see, it's like my outfits taken out of other images and then put onto the images, and then sort of decreasing opacity whilst removing my face. Doing all of that took quite a while, but it was worth it.
Ellie Johnstone, Quays News.
Now, a football team just looking for a home. Winton Wanderers are hoping to find a permanent ground that both the club and the community can enjoy. Holly Angus has this report.
The girls' under-12 Sharks are just one of 66 teams a part of the Winton Wanderers Football Club who don't have their own pitch to call home. Winton Wanderers are one of the biggest FA clubs in Greater Manchester with over 800 members and one of only 15 three-star Manchester F-rated clubs. Despite this, they don't have a permanent home.
I'm surprised that a club that size hasn't got a home. That's what I'd say. We've been, about a year now? You've just started playing, really? Yeah. And considering the age group and the amount of teams they've got, I'd expect them to have a permanent home, really. Just somewhere to call home. It's quite important, really.
It's expanding, you know. I'd love it to have our own ground, our own community where we can all go back to the clubhouse. You know, all the kids can go back to the clubhouse after the game, and their parents can go back. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
The club is spread across 17 different locations in Greater Manchester, which is costing them £50,000 a year for winter training venues. The club runs on subscriptions and small grants, but they want to give back to the community.
We can't apply for any of the grants until we get a long-term 25-year lease, so getting a new lease on the pitches that we play on at the minute at Brookhouse is the key to us opening all other doors and avenues then for us. We've got 2 girls teams ready to go, but we just can't form any more teams at the minute because we haven't got space for them to train over the winter. I grew up on the estate where Winton was formed. It's got 900 kids off the street playing football, tons and tons of girls. We've got nearly 70 teams. So we just really, everything that we've got so many plans of what we want to do. We just need that lease, we need a home that then will open all them other options for us. I just love empowering girls. As I said, my daughters thought they had to be boys to play football. It's just showing them that they can do whatever they want.
After 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
Well done, right.
Just like all these amazing players at Winton Wanderers, anyone can get involved with football, no matter their age or gender. I might give it a go myself. You ready? Holly Angus, Quays News.
And finally, it can be much harder to play certain sports in winter months, but if you're looking to branch out, then perhaps korfball might be for you.
The sport, originating in the Netherlands, has found its way to Sale, where the Manchester Korfball Club train. Did we send our niche sport reporter Callum Ewan to visit them? Of course we did.
Everyone has seen or played netball and basketball, but what is this sport? Well, this is korfball, and I went to the Manchester Korfball Club to investigate why people have joined.
Kind of just wanted to join like a new club when I moved to Manchester as a way to like meet people, and everyone's been so friendly since I moved. Like we do little socials, we go to the pub like after training.
The Manchester Korfball Club train every Thursday evening at the Sale Leisure Centre. The club has 4 teams of differing ability, with all the teams competing in the North West Regional League, playing fixtures on the weekends. I spoke to Jamal, who told me why he started playing korfball.
It was one of those things, when you get to a certain age, I can't tell you how old I am, but I'm over the age of 30, your joints start failing. And although I play basketball, I don't play competitively anymore because my knees aren't that great. We go over tactics and things like that, but it's not a kind of like, you know, you must win. It's like, if we win, absolutely brilliant, great, everyone loves to win. But it's more the social side of it that we love.
Heard of korfball before coming here?
Absolutely not. I've never heard of korfball in my life, but I'm glad that I have.
Okay, so you might now be encouraged to play. But how do you play? Let's get out the graphics. The court is divided into 2 zones, one for attacking and one for defending. Players score by throwing the ball through the basket, and after 2 goals, the teams change zones. Korfball is also one of the only sports in the world where men and women can play in the same match.
Nice to play a mixed sport. You don't get a lot of mixed sports. It's like you get to play against boys and girls who are all different levels. It's really inclusive in that sense.
Korfball is often thought of as a recently invented sport, but its origins go all the way back to the 1900s. It's time for a quick history lesson. This is Dutch PE teacher Nico Broekhuizen, who in 1902 visited Sweden and saw a game of rinboil being played. Broekhuizen took inspiration from this game, simplifying the rules of rinboil and replacing the rin with a basket. That's why it's called korfball, because korf in Dutch means basket, so korfball literally translates to basketball.
Here's the ball of korfball. It bounces really well. You can see the game going on behind me. There are more than 50 countries playing korfball in the world right now, and England came 8th in October at this year's World Cup. So expect to see more korfball clubs approaching Manchester very soon.
Of course, I decided to have a go at this historic game.
Oh, here we go. What do I do? Oh, God. Oh.
After briefly playing, I can see why korfball might be the next big sport. Callum Ewan, Quays News, Sale.
That's all we have time for today. We want to thank you for your support on behalf of everyone at Quays News.
Happy Christmas.